All right, well, hello everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. It is, I don't even know, April 20th, 2026. This is the Board of Health for the town of Fairfield, and we'll call the meeting to order at, actually it's 7:29, but we'll just go now.
All right, let's just verify.
Yeah, who's on the line with us? Hello.
Hi, Nina Chanana.
Hi, Nina.
Hi, Nina.
Hi. And I have Rob in the background.
Rob.
Okay.
So actually, we can't start because we don't have a quorum yet, right? We need 4?
We need 4.
So let's wait for Sophia.
Yeah, Sophia was going to join.
For a minute.
No pressure. And Tracy was going to join as well. So hopefully Sophia or Tracy join in a minute.
Well, while we're waiting, so Family Care, who I used to work for, they basically had like a corporate buyout. So all of a sudden, December 15th, it was like, we're eliminating your marketing position, but you can stay on as a speech pathologist. I was like, but that's not covering everything, so. Yeah.
Are we recording?
We're recording.
Oh, you're recording?
Yeah,
Okay.
so I just wanted you to be aware.
Yeah, okay. Whatever. Anyway, so, well, I could say so I accepted a position. I'm working for high quality home therapy in Stamford. So that's like, has a combination of physical therapy, OT, speech, massage therapy, and then it's connected to Dr. Peter McAllister's neurology, migraine and headache specialty, that office, and then an entire clinical research component, which is really cool. So it's like, you know, my undergrad was neuro, so it's kind of cool. It's like neuro, clinical research, all the therapies, all in one office, and it's a combination of in-clinic and home. So do you want to check and see? It would have indicated if somebody else.
Yeah, it beeps.
Okay.
So once it beeps, someone joins.
I just don't want to be holding anyone up, but.
I don't know if you want to stop the recording or.
Yeah, I can pause the recording, but then we'll lose everyone. Like,
yeah.
No, don't do that.
I don't want to. Oh, here's Sophia calling in. So I can just mute. Actually, I can mute it real quick. I'll have to, no, just grab this one. Hello, Sophia?
Oh, hey, Andrew, I'm sorry.
Yes, that's okay. Are you able, you have the number, the 339? Okay, great. Thank you. Sophia's going to call in.
Phew.
Well, so it's not a wasted drive for you guys.
Yeah, I had my last patient finish up in West End a little before 5, and I squeaked into the gym at the J, and then I was like, I will go straight here.
Okay.
All good, right?
Yeah.
Hey everybody, Sophia's here on the phone.
Hey, Sophia.
Okay.
All right, so now we have a quorum, so let's again call ourselves to order now that it's 7:32. We'll start with approving the last month, actually 2 months worth of meeting minutes, right? We have March and April.
Yeah, so we have February and March.
March, sorry. I'll entertain a motion to approve those.
Sally,
do I have a second?
Take one.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a second. Any opposed? Okay, hearing none, the minutes carry. So we'll move into our reports. Dan, you're up.
Sure. So our new database has gone live. It's been multiple years that we've been working towards this transition. So it's a slow process, but we are working out the kinks. I think every week there's a few new things worked out, but much thanks to Andrea here, Mary Cannon and Kim Wynn, who have been really taking the lead on sort of the getting all the details down right. And so hopefully everything will work out as we move forward. We're hopeful. It's, has some robust features, but it also has some things like it simply just doesn't do. So we're looking into other ways to manage that kind of data. So like our beach water sampling data, it just doesn't, it's not built for that, and so it can't do it. So But we are working forward, we're live, we're, printing out licenses and the like, and moving forward. We've had some HR trainings, recently that the staff has participated in. One was a reasonable suspicion training for managers and understanding, if somebody may be under the influence at work. And so, that and a few other trainings they have coming up. So we have a new HR director who's really promoting some additional trainings. We have myself and Sarah Payne and Dr. McDonald met with the Fairfield Public Schools, Rob Mancusi, and one of his staff members regarding Dr. McDonald's roles related to reviewing requests for homebound education. So Dr. McDonald had some concerns, and so we met with them, met with the town risk manager to talk about it and kind of ironed out those concerns going forward. We've had, as I've said, I sit on the Board of Condemnation in addition to the Health Department, and we've had 2 Board of Condemnation meetings. We continue to work on since the last Board of Health meeting, we continue to work on about 10 properties. It kind of goes up and down depending on the complaints. Right now, it's very, it's a very light load for what we've had in the past. The most recent hearing that we had, we had 2 hearings where we did declare one property a menace to public safety and another property blighted, and so we'll be moving into enforcement mode with them. We did, staff attended, myself and Santina and Emma Sharp attended the Region 1, what was called the Bio 100 tabletop exercise, and that was a well-attended event with, over 100 people there that presented and, with people from representatives from the State Department of Public Health, Department of Emergency Management and Homeland Security, Connecticut National Guard, and all the other municipalities in Region 1, which is, Greenwich to Milford along the coast up as high as Easton and New Canaan. It presented different scenarios, presented a scenario that evolved over time with different phases. In each phase, the participants were asked, so what activities would you be doing at this point? And it evolved into an intentional anthrax release at a theater in town, sort of walking through what would the towns be doing at each phase. That was followed up last Friday, the 17th of April, with a full-scale exercise held in Westport. Again, we had 3 staff members participating in that. Santina, Emma Sharp, and Mary Cannon participated, and that was a full point of dispensing setup with training, just-in-time training, and then having people going through and being dispensed. It was the same scenario. It was the sort of final step of that scenario of actually dispensing pills to those involved participating. Very well attended, and that was, since we're not downstairs, I can't show you the video, but Santina made a video of it, and it's up on our website. If you go to our website, you can see that. In addition, myself and the building official, Pat Mahoney, have been meeting with Michelle McCabe, who's an RTM member, in discussions about revisions to the blight ordinance. So we've had a few discussions and emails back and forth, met in person, and so we're hopefully going to try to streamline the process a bit, and the process of enforcing blight in particular has these long periods of sort of, like intentional delays. You have to wait 30 days for this, and then you have to do 30 days for a hearing, and then 30 days for compliance, and then so it has these long periods built in where, most cases are, 90 to 100 days before we really get to where individuals are compelled to take action.
So just trying to accelerate it?
Yeah, so we're trying, we're trying to streamline the enforcement. How we do things here is an inspector goes out, and if you see a violation, you send them an order and to correct it, and then they've got an X period of time, depending on the severity of it. It can be as short as 48 hours, 24 hours, up to 2 weeks, 30 days. This one requires a 30-day minimum. But essentially, the current process involves, 3 inspectors having to go out individually and have to move through it. Then they have to meet to decide whether it meets the criteria. Then if they do have the criteria, then at the next meeting they have a hearing. So it's a 30 days for the next hearing, and then if the hearing you decide that it meets the criteria, then you send them a notice of determination, and then you have to give a 30-day compliance period. So that's 90 days right there before we get to a deadline, and so we're trying to streamline that and make it more efficient, and to make it more responsive to those bringing the issues to us. And it's frustrating for us as well to have these long delays in there. So we're working to try and make that more efficient. Hopefully that'll move forward. We've started meeting the first selectman's office, first selectwoman, and the first person's office are moving forward with what we're calling an opioid settlement funds planning group. So we've had 2 meetings in the last month looking at best practices of utilizing the opioid settlement funds. The town has been receiving these funds for a few years and there's been some activity, but hasn't taken any definitive sort of set up any kind of system or process or program. So we are moving forward with a couple programs. We've already moved to acquire what most towns have been doing is leave behind kits, which when there is an overdose at a dwelling, whoever responds to that will have these kits to leave behind with naloxone and other information available to those in the household. In addition, April 8th was Save a Life Day, and so Santina and Emma Sharp organized a naloxone training in collaboration with Catalyst, the hub in our area, which is the regional substance abuse behavioral health organization. They conducted the training. We organized and did the signups. But we had 40 people on the 8th in the evening go through that. And our office, the health department's lobby, now has a naloxone cabinet where anybody from the public can come and grab a free box of naloxone with no questions asked. So that was installed a few weeks ago and stocked last week, and it's ready to go. We did have the Board of Finance budget meeting. The health department had two things change. One was a correction of just an adjustment to a miscalculation, which reduced the appearance of a large increase in our salary, but it was really just a correction. And there was a reduction proposed of $10,000 to our education and membership account, which is the nurses. We've always had this account. It's always been around $16,000, $17,000, and that covers all the costs related to education and training for the staff. But also the nurses had a $500 educational benefit. So if they wanted to attend a program or buy a book or subscribe to a magazine, they had that. So we always kept funds in there to sort of approximate what would be utilized. They don't all utilize it. And so their new contract increased that by $600, up to like $1,100 per nurse. And so it's not all just. It's if they have a school nursing certification, they get a stipend. If they get another certification, there's another certification they get a stipend for, and then the other educational costs. So it increased for them. It's what they negotiated. But so we, in working with the budget director a few years back, when this change happened, they just said, well, just put the total dollar amount in. And so over the last year, they haven't really utilized that amount. And so they decided, the Board of Finance decided we're gonna trim you a little bit just based on utilization, which, which is fine with me. And they even included, but we'll offer forgiveness if they happen to take advantage of that line and you go over by 10,000, we're on record saying, we got it, it's okay. So it's a small reduction. And then, recently we had, the, RTM budget hearing. This is a unique year in that, the RTM did not request the health department to present for them, meaning essentially they have no questions regarding the health department, and so we don't need to come, which I think is the first time that has ever happened for me, I'll take it. So moving forward, we'll move forward with the budget as it is. We don't think there'll be any additional reductions. So the one thing that, other than the $10,000, we'll, have the ability to combine the 2 part-time nurses at Tomlinson to a full-time nurse, bringing that staffing to 2 full-time nurses at Tomlinson rather than 2 part-time and 1 full-time. We continue to meet with the Fairfield Safe Streets Alliance. We did the health staff developed a number of social media posts related to Distracted Driving Month for April, which we've been working on. In addition, there's been another group. The town received a grant for $50,000, the Safe Streets for All grant. So the town has hired a consultant group, CARP Consulting Group, and this group will be developing a master safety plan for the town. So the health department will be on the advisory group for that. And so there'll be 3 sessions, the first of which started early this past month, and we'll have 2 more in a few coming months to help develop this master safety plan. So it'll be, people from the town, but also they'll be doing public sessions around town as well. Sarah and myself have been having sort of multiple meetings with HR to address a couple issues, and so that's been taking a fair amount of time for her and myself. I think I've covered everything in that. Tomorrow, so what's happened at the state level is the state has decided that they will transfer the responsibility of Legionella investigations, interviews, down to the local level. And so we're having a training tomorrow to train 3 of the staff to conducting Legionella case interviews and the actions related to that. And then we will have some staff attending the Connecticut Conference of Emergency Management Symposium, coming up this week. And that is all I have. Sure.
I just have one question just with the Safe Street Initiative and the grants. You mentioned the $350,000, but then, there's like the consultancy. I'm just curious what percentage of a grant like that goes towards the consultant and what percentage actually goes to tangibly changing something within the town and the streets. Do you know what I'm saying? I feel like a lot of times so much of it's usurped by this kind of initial ideas stage without necessarily implementation.
Yeah, well, again, I'm not, there's been one meeting. Yeah. It was at the same time as the opioid settlement task force meeting, so I had Santina attended that and described it as sort of an orientation meeting. But my understanding is that the funding is designed to enable towns to hire consultants to do this work. Okay. And then it includes some pilot projects. So it'll actually be, funding to support implementation of some of the efforts as pilot projects to test them around town. But in addition to that, the Bike Pedestrian Committee and engineering is already working on, physical implementation of different traffic calming measures and safety measures going on. And so there's a long pipeline already going on with other funds from the state to do those efforts. And so this is meant to supplement that and kind of be an overarching plan, pulling that all together for the town.
Yeah, I'm just curious, and there's also like already many existing opinions, we'll just say, about some of the initiatives that have already taken place. You know, just like, okay, this area has this additional bike lane, this one, you know, now Southport, I think that was more of the state level, but now it's like converged into this, you know, single lane, and now you have people using what's supposed to be a turning lane as a driving lane. Obviously the Villa, people have a lot of different opinions on the way that those calming measures were implemented with the kind of medians, and now it seems to be permanent cones. So it's just, I don't know who really makes all these final decisions, but whatever. I'm just making a statement. There's not really any question involved, I guess.
Yeah.
Just interjecting my own opinion.
I mean, and, you know, and then not necessarily even to respond, but
Yeah.
just to state that, you know, for 15 years, there's been a, you know, citizen-led bicycle and pedestrian committee that has put plans in place, that has taken them before the Board of Selectmen and the RTM and has had them approved. So, like, they've been, you know, it's been citizen-led efforts approved by the elected officials of the town that's being implemented now. And so it's not for lack of public input, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I, for the record, I'll just say, obviously, I'm definitely in favor for streets being safer for pedestrians and bikers, and then especially when we have all the electric scooters, such a variety of vehicle types sharing the road now. So, okay, thank you. That's all.
Okay, that's my report.
All right, thank you, Sam.
We have Rob on the
Rob,
line.
you still on?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, the floor is yours.
So a couple things. All of the staff actually is heading into our yearly lead training.
There you go.
Yep.
Yeah, you were kind of muffled there for a minute. Now you sound good.
Hold on one second.
Yeah, maybe if you're on speakerphone, just don't use speakerphone. That'll cut out frequencies, you know?
Yeah, hold on. I had you on my ear pod. I think that was a bad idea.
Yeah, that's better.
You sound better.
So I was saying that the staff is this week will be doing their yearly lead training for lead inspector, risk assessor. Sabrina already completed hers with a special session prior to her leave with the birth of her son. So she took care of that, I believe, about a month ago. Melissa and Kim will be going on the 22nd, and I will be going on the 7th, which is required by the state that we do that yearly training. With the summer months coming up, we do have, as everyone probably sees with the signs throughout towns, multiple events that we'll be inspecting on the weekends. The sanitarians will be heading out, and myself. I believe we already have about 10 or 11 on our board. It's really ramped up over the last couple of years with weekend events. We've even had the Winters Farmers Market at Penfield that we would attend and inspect. So we'll be doing that. Also with the summertime, starting of the week of Memorial Day, we'll start doing beach samples, which we will also, as we normally do every year, put it out on social media and on our web pages when there's closures and so forth. So that's what the sanitarians will be doing as far as trainings and things that are coming up during the summer. Two of the major items that we've been dealing with is prior to Sabrina going out, she was dealing with a lead complaint, which I believe, Sands, that you talked about in the prior Board of Health meetings.
Yep.
So it's a tenant, a landlord owns a house. There has to be a lead abatement, and he has a lead abatement plan that has been put in place. He is a contractor, but he would not be allowed to do it despite him being a contractor because it is a tenant. He is not, he's a homeowner, but he is not residing there. He requested to Sabrina before she left if he can do the work himself because of the cost of it and him being a contractor himself. Sabrina did receive verbal approval from Brianna at the state, and she received the lead abatement plan from the homeowner. She sent out an email up to the state on April 7th asking for an email approval for the plan that was submitted We have not received approval yet. I actually followed up on it today with Brianna up at the state. I sent her an email asking her if it's okay because the landlord did reach out to me prior to me leaving for vacation last week, wanting to get it done and him doing it himself. Obviously, in our department, we want to get it done as quick as possible, but we do want to receive in writing from the state saying that it is okay that he can do it as the owner because he is a contractor and he's capable of doing it himself. But we're still waiting for the approval from the state. So that is one item that we are following up on. The other item for housing is during the season of the student rentals, we send out orders to comply to landlords that do not have certificate of rental occupancies. We get some landlords that send back and they do call and set up an inspection. We have one landlord that did do that. It was just an oversight on his part. It was 995 Reef Road. Ken Rabano actually did the inspection for me because I was out. When we received the application, the landlord had 6 unrelated tenants listed on the back of the application. Underneath our housing code, it states that you can only have 5 unrelated tenants. After the landlord submitted the application, I reached out to him, explained to him that he could only have 5. He was under the assumption because 2 of them were sisters that those 2 would be considered 1, and then he could add an additional 4. We don't run into this a lot, but we did run into it in the past. And when Jim Went was the director for planning and zoning, Sands and I spoke to him about the case that we had several years ago, and he said it's either or. You can't do what this landlord was doing because now in a scenario such as this, it goes to 6, which triggers the rooming house code. The landlord openly admitted to it. He said he was told from a real estate agent. He was not trying to hide anything, obviously putting them on the application, which, after multiple conversations with him, I do find him truthful for it. He appealed our second order to him for being overcrowded with 6 unrelated tenants. We did have the hearing, not last week, the weekend before, with the Department of Public Health, and he put on his case of, the definitions that we had there related by blood and that he was informed by a real estate agent. We put on our explanation of what our code says, the fact that once you go to 6, that it triggers the rooming house laws, and we were also told by planning and zoning that it's either or. We're still waiting for the hearing officer's determination on this, which will change things for us if he does come back, if the state does come back and say that in this scenario that those sisters would be considered 1, and then you could have 4 other related tenants giving 6 tenants. So down at the beach, obviously where it's only 4 unrelated, if it was the same case scenario, you would have 5 tenants living down there unrelated, which in the past would become overcrowding, but we're still waiting to hear what the state is going to decide on what he presented the landlord. That's pretty much all I have on a couple of bigger cases that we're working on at this time.
Well, and Rob, I did want to add, I forgot we didn't discuss it, but I think I shared about the septic system that was failing and that we had issued orders, and we had met with the prosecutor to suggest about moving forward with compliance. He had some concerns about process and asked us to reserve them, so we had a state marshal serve the individual. For some reason this time it worked, and the homeowner executed the plan that she had all along and hired the contractor, and the new system has been put in, and the issue is resolved now. So we're happy about that it didn't have to go to an arrest warrant for somebody not listening to us,
Any questions for Rob? All right, thanks, Rob.
Thank you.
Do we have any communications?
We have none?
I'm just gonna bring up, there was, just so that it's like on the record here as well, but just, it had come up on Moms of Fairfield, which I know is like a social media forum versus in an official email, but it was somebody who had been very frustrated by the dumpster behind Puerto Vallarta in that area, Black Rock Turnpike, and pictures of really overflowing dumpster, attracting a lot of birds, the birds coming in the house, and, you know, just concerns surrounding that. And so there was, a little bit of confusion about who to go to and kind of reaching out to various people. And then a lot of people commenting about frustrations. So I did try to address it by saying, I'll bring it up at the next meeting, but in the meantime, I had said, you know, she could contact directly, and then I decided to just send an email to Sands. He did respond right away, sent out someone to take a look at it. I guess it had been just recently improved, right? Like cleared out again. I guess it's...
So, 2 weeks prior to you sending to me, somebody else brought up the issue, so we had sent an inspector out, asked them to clean it up, and they did, and at least when we went back out that day, that it was clean at that time.
Yeah. And I did send you, obviously that's kind of a side thing, but I sent you, somebody else had reached out to me that they had another option as far as like a containment kind of dumpster situation that's more underground. It would be a little more installed, but would be more contained and discreet, maybe to consider in some places. I know you mentioned that the locks are difficult sometimes, but then people do the dumpster diving, but there's definitely some places around town where it's problematic, you know.
Yeah.
So, but at least now everyone knows that you're the person to complain to directly, right? But I do appreciate how timely, and I did share right away on that you had responded, and a picture of the updated, and she was very happy of the response.
And we've been responding to that neighborhood. Yeah. You know, it's a kind of a once a summer thing. So what typically happens there is somebody forgets to close the dumpster, or somebody attempting to use the dumpster illegally opens it and throws their garbage in, then leaves it, and the turkey vultures that live around that area go into the garbage can, they pull the bags out, they rip them open, and then all the birds come in and make a terrible mess. And so it's kind of an ongoing thing, and we've tried to change behavior, and we have for the most part. They're pretty good about the people who are, you know, pay for that dumpster, you know, the multiple tenants that pay for that are pretty good about keeping it clean and closed and stuff, but they, as all dumpster owners do, they face this challenge of people sneaking in and throwing their garbage in there and leaving things open, and you know, and you know, what happens is, you know, people just pull up to a dumpster and they put a piece of furniture out and just drive away, and then and they don't put it in the dumpster, they just leave it out, and if you lock it, then they just put garbage bags in front of the fence. We had it with one on Sanford Street where we had it locked and we had a really high fence put up because it was a shared dumpster, and they have cameras, and people would throw their bags 10 feet up in the air, and it would land in the dumpster or on top of the dumpster, would break open and make this mess. And so it's a struggle that everybody with a dumpster that they pay for has to deal with, you know, and it's this struggle of, do I lock it? Do I leave it open? You know, a lot of times leaving it unlocked, at least people put, you know, if they're going to do that, they're going to put it in, and, you know, it in some cases tends to be a little cleaner that way. So.
Understood. Thank you for listening.
Sure.
Any other communications?
No other communications?
Any old business?
We have none.
Any new business?
We have none.
I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Sure, I will motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Do I have a second? Any opposed? All right, hearing none, our meeting is adjourned at 8:04 p.m.
Good job.
Thank you, everyone.
Efficient. Beautiful.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks,
Thank
all,
you.
everybody. See you.
Good night.